Welcome to today's news on TV9. I'm Ada Show. In today's local news, the New Zealand Transport Agency has advised overnight closure of Auckland motorway this week, starting from 9 p.m. to 5 in the morning. While a survey has reviewed that Kiwi fathers are sometimes forgotten by their children on Father's Day. And as a key influencer in the international green building movement, the Living Building Challenge has come to Auckland this week. The government is touting economic benefits of a possible second oil and gas basin in New Zealand, but the Greens are criticising the idea as a lazy approach. Christy Jai has more.
The Ministry of Business, Innovation and Employment released a paper last week talking up the potential of future discoveries of oil and gas in New Zealand. Currently, there is only one petroleum-producing basin in the country, the Taranaki Basin. But according to the government, if another basin is developed, export, GDP, government revenue and regional development opportunities are all set to benefit. Specifically, exports could grow by $1.5 billion per annum, royalty payments by $320 million, while a further 5,500 jobs would be created. National GDP could increase by $2.1 billion for every year of a 30-year development, and a single field could generate between $557 million and $3.2 billion in regional GDP. But opponents call the estimates hypothetical, and the Greens criticize the government for taking a lazy but risky approach to economic development.
The only way we could see a massive increase in oil exports from New Zealand is to drill in very deep waters. This is still relatively new experimental technology, and as we saw with the Gulf of Mexico, comes with a great number of risks. This oil spill there cost $40 billion, and if we saw something like that happen in New Zealand, we've got no capacity like the US government did to deal with the spill.
The government's report came as a legislation regulating deep-sea oil drilling inside the country's exclusive economic zone was passed last week. The oil and gas industry generates about $400 million in annual royalty and around $300 million in annual company tax revenue for the government. Christy Zhao, 9 News.
After approving $11 million for Fiat supercars, the council-controlled organisation Regional Facilities Auckland are asking $30 million from Auckland ratepayers for a whitewater rafting project. It also seeks an additional $10 million to the Ministry of Economic Development. A few Auckland motorways will be closed overnight this week for improvements work. Christy Jai has more.
The NZTA says affected routes will include the Northern Motorway, Central Motorway Junction, Southern Motorway, Northwestern Motorway, Upper Harbour Highway, Southwestern Motorway and George Bolt Memorial Drive. Closures will occur between the 2nd and 8th of September, generally from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. Motorists can visit www.aucklandmotorways.com or call 095200 for more information.
Telecom survey revealed that dads are not given the love and attention they deserve. Keisha has more.
Sunday was Father's Day, and Telecom has conducted a Father's Day survey and found some very surprising figures.
84% of all New Zealand dads would prefer to get a phone call than a present on Father's Day.
Given the opportunity, there is no excuse for not getting in touch with Dad, and the survey also reveals what most dads really want on this occasion.
1/3 of New Zealand adult children have forgotten to call their father altogether on Father's Day, so we want to make sure that dads get what they want, which is a phone call, and that there's no excuses for children not to call their father on Father's Day by making it free to call from a telecom payphone.
Mothers, on the other hand, receive better attention, with 11% more mobile calls made on Mother's Day than on Father's Day, and landline call volumes increased 13% compared to an average Sunday, while poor old dads only have a 2% increase in call volumes, so good on those who remembered to call their dad on Father's Day. Kay Chow, 9 News.
New Zealand Post Chairman Sir Michael Collin has pledged that no more post shops would be closed before the company completes its operational review next year. Christy Jai reports.
2012 hasn't been too much of a bad year for New Zealand Post. The struggling company reported a profit of $169.7 million for the year to June, turning around a loss of $35.6 million last year. But core postal business continues to decline in both revenue and volume, with Kiwis posting 54 million fewer letters in the past year. As a result, more than 10 outlets around the country were closed down last year, causing some residents to complain about the lack of service. The state-owned postal company has been warning that it was being restrained by legislation designed before the digital age and is calling for regulatory change to allow it to deliver on fewer days. Appearing before a committee hearing submissions from local residents, company chairman Sir Michael Cullen vowed not to close up any more shops, but said the need to transform the business is urgent. We always know that any changes in those operations are difficult ones because people identify them as community organizations. But we also have to make sure that we are a competitive business-oriented organization. And of course, we are seeing decreased usage of the postal system. That's part of technological change. To help combat the decline in mail volumes, the company plans to launch an online bill payment service later this year. The government is also expected to issue a public discussion document about future minimum postal delivery services in November. Christy Zhao, 9 News.
Sustainability is climbing the ladder of trendiness and gaining importance. The same applies to building cities and communities for future generation. And hence a series of workshops and lectures are being offered in Auckland, known as the Living Building Challenge.
Spotlights on Living Building Challenge in Auckland, where all those who are interested in green buildings are eager to find out what it's all about.
It's probably the most rigorous philosophy you'll see towards green design. The best way to explain it was you would have a building that would work off the grid. It wouldn't have to use anything. It would be better than neutral. They call it restorative. You'd have more than you need.
The Steve Jobs of sustainable buildings is here in Auckland. Jason McLennan is the chief advocate for the Living Building Challenge. From 3rd of September to 5th of September, workshops and seminars are held and leading a design charrette on the possible future of Auckland's waterfront.
This has generated a lot of excitement in the market, and this workshop is a chance to, as a group, you're going to bring in clients, the designers and people who help deliver it like us, the builder. Look who we are as New Zealand. We pitch ourselves as part of the environment. Wouldn't it be great to have a building like that?
There are only about 100 living buildings around the world at this stage, but Julian's convinced that this is the future for New Zealand. Working together is the idea that makes Living Building Challenge possible. Kay Chow, 9 News.
Around 20 Chinese manufacturers falsely claimed the infant's formula as New Zealand made at a major mother and baby expo in Shanghai recently. One even used a picture of Prime Minister promoting the products. A spokeswoman of Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade said the false claims were taken very seriously and complaints have been filed with Chinese authorities. After 7 years of development, a new drug battling cancer has been approved to go on human clinical trials. KCHI has more.
A new compound drug invented and developed at the Auckland Cancer Society Research Centre in collaboration with Maurice Wilkins Centre is ready for human clinical trials.
The drug's called PR610. We're very excited that we've managed to get to the stage where we start the human trials.
The drug targets genetic mutation that causes drug resistance and would focus on patients with non-small cell lung cancer, but can also be found in other cancers like breast cancer, head and neck cancer, colon cancer and pancreatic cancer.
That tends to be in 10% of the Caucasian population, but it can be up to as much as 30% of the Asian population that have these mutant enzymes driving their lung cancer.
The clinical trials will be conducted at Auckland City Hospital, Waikato Hospital and 3 other sites in the United States.
Trials are always done cautiously, so it's an incremental increase in dose starting at a very low level to assessment of all the side effects as the dose is increased over many months to find a safe dose for human use.
PR16 have been found to specifically target the low oxygen regions on tumours and has showed promising results in the laboratory. Kay Chow, 9 News.
Now we have a TV9 host from Asia Focus, Julie Nixon, to comment on gay marriage but not adoption.
Louisa Wall's bill legalising gay marriage will also legalise gay adoption because it will bring same-sex couples into the definition of a spouse or marital partner who is legally entitled to apply for adoption under the Adoption Act. The gay marriage bill passed its first reading in Parliament last week by 80 votes to 40. At the moment, in New Zealand, a gay individual can adopt, but a gay couple cannot. I, for one, agree with gay marriage, but not with gay adoption. In my view, every kid has the right to a mum and a dad. The basic family unit is a male and a female because it takes a male and a female to produce the next generation. The issue of gay adoption is set to make its way onto the parliamentary agenda in a private member's bill sponsored by Labour's List MP Jacinda Ardern. The Care of Children Law Reform Bill was one of 4 private members' bills drawn out last week. Ms Ardern's bill would remove some of the barriers for same-sex couples and other individuals to adopt. It would also involve the Law Commission updating a report it wrote around adoption and its alternatives. In another move, National MP Nikki Kay and Green MP Kevin Haig are jointly working on a private member's bill that would reform the Care of Children Act. This includes legalising gay adoption. But their work is not yet completed, and it's not yet in the private member's ballot. With 3 separate initiatives to change the law, momentum seems to be towards gay married people being able to adopt. But many of the decisions that will need to be made will be controversial, including the age of adoption, adoption by same-sex couples, adoption by single people, Maori adoption practices and surrogacy. For those who oppose gay adoption, the fight's not yet over.
Thank you, Julian. Now let's take a short break and we'll be back shortly. 11.